Hey everyone, my name's Tenebris, and this game is doing what no other game out there has done before, offering a hardcore shooter experience blended with heavy factors of survival gameplay and immersive sim, all in a single player package. And no, I'm not talking about the single player Tarkov mod. Instead, the game's name is Road to Vostok, and you might have heard about it along the way over this past year. But in short, this is a post-apocalyptic survival game set in a contested zone between Russia and Finland, drawing its inspirations from games like DayZ, Stalker Anomaly, and Tarkov. It's a blending of pretty much everything good that's happened in hardcore FPS games over the past decade. And with its first public demo coming up soon, I thought I'd bring up the question beforehand. Will Road to Vostok be the single-player Tarkov experience everyone's always wanted? Now that is everyone with a pretty heavy asterisk. It's not like everyone that picks up Tarkov wonders what the game would be like in single player. And for some, its online factor is what makes the whole game for them. But I'm not a political guy, so really your prerogative is all that matters on that one. But when you isolate Tarkov from the social aspects, the online gameplay, what are you left with? And it might come to no surprise that there is a pretty meaty game that Battlestate Games have made here. You have the extreme weapon customization, the huge array of weapons themselves to choose from, and some great locations to take these weapons off to and just fuck around. Tarkov has always had a huge amount of sandbox play for a more strictly FPS game, offering weird options that you wouldn't usually get, and the ability to use those weird options freely, whether it's good or bad for you. And when you strip away the online side and crank the map timer up to a ridiculous degree, you essentially shift the game from a primarily hardcore shooter experience to a more free-roaming survival experience on top of the hardcore shooter elements. And I think this actually describes what we've seen about Road to Vostok so far pretty good. We have tons of survival aspects and future potential with an intricate medical system simulating even more injuries and illnesses than what Tarkov does in a match. The only area Vostok may be falling a bit short in is the weapon customization, but that's purely because Battlestate Games have made a really intricate system with what you could do with your guns in their game. But the one realm where Road to Vostok will live up to Tarkov is in being a hardcore experience. Road to Vostok has all the loss you'd get from losing a raid, but then some when you cross the border into the Vostok area. It's at this point that the palm sweats are gonna be pretty heavy, man. In Vostok's area, you face permadeath if you fail to upkeep your character, either from combat or food, or the many other things we'll have to learn to overcome in Road to Vostok. And with the gunplay of Vostok already being slightly reminiscent of Tarkov in these very early stages, this could all come together as a very hardcore FPS experience. Possibly one of the most hardcore in a single-player game. But also, as I said before, Road to Vostok shows more than just being a hardcore FPS. There are some really awesome ideas for immersion that will be providing a ton of character for how you interact and engage with the game world. Now, the thing I didn't really expect when I jumped into Tarkov about a month ago was the skill system. It's a really cool system where you progressively level various attributes of your character simply by playing the game and engaging in its features as your main character. Some skills might not be so straightforward to level, but that's a really realistic approach to skills in a video game, and it's actually one of the cooler systems to engage with in EFT. In Road to Vostok, as of right now, there are no plans for skills that we've seen in any of the devlogs or work-in-progress videos, but hopefully someday much further on down the road, we can maybe start approaching those, as I think a good player progression system really benefits survival FPS games. When it comes to the maps of Tarkov versus the game world of Road to Vostok, it's where we'll be seeing some of the bigger differences between the two games. This is where the inspiration of Stalker is a huge indicator, as you'll be traveling from map to map with a bit of a loading screen in between, unlike in Tarkov where you repeatedly infiltrate maps then exfil out. This will provide a more cohesive game world, even though Tarkov does a great job of making its levels interrelated for a raid-based game. But a big thing in Tarkov's gameplay is completing missions and maxing out traders. You can complete these missions in proper Tarkov too, but sometimes completing them can range from difficult to pain in the ass levels of mission shenanigans. We haven't seen what missions will be like in Vostok, but we know they are very much a planned feature. The developer of this game, which I'd like to mention as an aside, is just one guy, which is crazy, but the developer taught environmental design, so I'm very excited to see how he will approach mission design in Road to Vostok. And lastly, the looting, as there's a ton of looter shooter in EFT, and this is where I think things may actually have some similar vibes between the two games. Having to go out to dangerous spots to get fat loot. The AI side of Vostok is still very early on, but with work being done in the early stages to bring around a more intelligent AI to Road to Vostok, we could have a scenario where the best loot is heavily guarded in maps by tactile, difficult, boss-level enemies. But there's still early game maps with brevity for you to gather your cans of beans and medical supplies. I guess basically what I'm saying is, if you're a fan of Tarkov and enjoy a good romp through a single player game, then Road to Vostok is absolutely the game to pay attention to right now. But there are also many ways Road to Vostok is kind of exceeding the Tarkov experience, like with the work on boating, the proposed medical system, the focus on having an interactive world, the ambitious potential in this project. There is a lot more inspiration behind Road to Vostok than just Tarkov, and it totally shows. Road to Vostok is almost more like, what if Tarkov and Stalker did the nasty and then their kid played a whole bunch of survival sims? So, even though the similarities will probably be drawn as time goes on, I think Road to Vostok is going to stand head and shoulders on its own in the realm of realistic tactical shooters, especially as a single-player game. If you're a Tarkov player, maybe let me know if you're going to keep tabs on this game. I also want to say, I'm seeing my little community for this game grow as time goes on, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who's come through to check out my coverage on RTV so far. Cheers, folks. We got plenty more to come, but for now, I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, peace.